This is the one, the only iPhone 15 Pro. This is going to be an honest review, and this is going to help you decide if the iPhone 15 Pro is worth the upgrade and if the iPhone 15 Pro is the best phone for you. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so let's start off with what makes the iPhone 15 Pro the iPhone 15 Pro. We'll do a little comparison with the iPhone 14 Pro. I'm also going to give you an explanation and kind of just explain what makes an iPhone really. So I'm going to start off with the design and the internal bits and pieces because it's what's on the inside that counts. So in terms of the design, with the iPhone 15 Pro, you have the titanium side rails on the iPhone itself, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro had stainless steel. So the main reason that Apple chose the titanium side rails was because it makes the iPhone slightly lighter. So the iPhone 15 Pro is at about 187 grams, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro is about 206 grams. So even though it's slightly lighter, you can actually feel the difference in your hand. It does feel a lot lighter and nice on your wrist. It does have a ceramic shield on the front and the matte glass back, which is the same as the iPhone 14 Pro. So there's no real difference there in terms of the design. The next big difference for the iPhone 15 Pro is the chip. So it has an A17 Pro chip, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro has an A16 chip. So the main difference here is the A17 Pro chip has a 6-core GPU compared to the 5-core GPU that's provided with the iPhone 14 Pro. The A17 Pro chip in the iPhone 15 Pro is 16 cores. It can go up to 35 trillion operations per second compared to the iPhone 14 Pro, which can do 17 trillion per second. The iPhone 15 Pro has 8 gigs of RAM compared to the 6 gigs of RAM that you get with the iPhone 14 Pro. You have the USB 3.2 that comes with the A17 Pro chip as well. So that allows you to go up to 10 gigabits per second in terms of transfer speeds, which is 20 times faster than the iPhone 14 Pro. There's a little caveat on that, which I'll explain later in the video. The A17 Pro chip also gives you an AV1 decoder for faster video streaming. In general, for the iPhone 15 Pro, due to the chip upgrade, you're going to experience slightly improved graphics, and also it's going to be snappier in terms of opening applications or doing just anything in general on the iPhone. Next up, let's take a look at the storage options. So we have the exact same storage options as the iPhone 14 Pro. So we've got 128 gig, 256, 512, and then 1 terabyte. For the colors, we have natural color, blue, white, and black. For the battery, Apple does claim full video playback to 23 hours, and it's about 20 hours for streaming videos. Now, that's not quite true. I mean, even on the Apple site, it does, in the little small print at the bottom, it does actually say that's for the bigger models, i.e., iPhone 15 Pro Max. But when I was playing videos on the iPhone 15 Pro, it lasted up to about 7-ish hours, just under 7 hours in total before the actual battery drained. For gaming, it's around about 8 hours, I noticed. Obviously, it's going to depend on the game that you're playing. In terms of the audio, that was actually around about 16 hours-ish, just under 16 hours for that. So that's just things like music. For the water, splash, and dust resistance, it's the same as the iPhone 14 Pro. So it was submerged by Apple, tested by Apple with 6 meters underwater for 30 minutes. It's rated IP68. Obviously, I wasn't going to drown my iPhone. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, especially because I'm not super rich, at least not yet. And even Apple themselves are a bit doubtful because the liquid damage, as you'd expect, doesn't come in the warranty. So in terms of the buttons, the iPhone 15 Pro, we have the volume up and volume down on the left-hand side, as you can see there. We also have the action button, which is directly above the volume up and volume down. We have the built-in stereo speaker and the built-in microphone at the top. And then we have the side button for locking device. At the bottom, you can see that you've got the USB-C connector with built-in microphones and the speakers. You can also choose what action the action button performs. If you go into the settings and scroll down to action button, you can see here it defaults to silent mode, but you've also got focus. You can switch the action button to. You've got camera, which opens the camera. You've got torch, which turns on the torch. You've got voice memo, translate, magnifier, shortcut to open any app, accessibility, or you can take no action. For the camera, we have 48 megapixel main camera, which can support for super high resolution photos at 24 meg and 48 meg, which it uses the primary lens. We've got the 12 megapixel ultra wide, which is good for taking landscape photos, for example, or group photos. We have to kind of include everybody in there. It goes up to 0.5, which is actually quite good. It has the 12 megapixel times 2 telephoto, which is enabled by the quad pixel sensor. And that provides 2 times optical zoom with better low light performance. And then we have digital zoom, which can go up to times 15. That actually essentially works by cropping and then enlarging the picture that you have. And so as it does that, it's going to reduce the image quality. In general, this is the same as the iPhone 14 Pro. The display is the same as the iPhone 14 Pro. So the what Apple call the Super Retina XDR display, which sounds really nice. And got to rate Apple for their marketing skills and their ability to put names on things that are already out there. But essentially, it's an OLED display that can handle brighter colors. It's 6.12 inches for the iPhone 15 Pro. Now, the actual viewing area will be slightly less because of the rounded corners and front-facing camera. It's 2556 by 1179 pixel resolution at 460 ppi, so pixels per inch, which provides you a more detailed and sharper picture. And it has all of the other bits and pieces: dynamic island, always on display, ProMotion, HDR display, etc. In terms of what you get in the box, of course, you get the iPhone with iOS 17. And then we have the USB-C charge cable that comes along with that in the box. Now, before I said that the iPhone 15 Pro can utilize USB 3.2 for up to 10 gigabits per second, which is true. However, that cable that's provided isn't USB 3.2. So you're going to have to go out and purchase a new cable. In terms of the costs for the iPhone 15 Pro, it's starting at $999 in pounds. It's actually the same whether it's pounds or dollars for the 128 gig version. And it essentially increases by £100 or $100 per 128 gig that you add on. So the next storage tier up from that is 256 gig, which is £100 or $100 on top. The next one up from that is 512. So in which case it's 256 gig increase, which means it's a £200, $200 increase in cost. And the Pro Max is £100 or dollars more expensive than the Pro. So if you were to get the Pro, depending on what type of device you like, if you like a larger screen and you're okay with the extra weight that it's going to add on, then you might want to get the Pro Max. Whereas if you do prefer a lighter device and something you can easily hold in your hand, then you're going to want to get the Pro. Now, to wrap up everything I've just spoken about in this video, so we've got the titanium side rails, which makes it lighter. We've got a better GPU. We have more RAM. It does provide faster transfer speeds, but you have to purchase an additional USB 3.2 cable, which isn't included. It comes in different colors from the iPhone 14 Pro. But apart from that, everything else remains the same. If you do have the iPhone 14 Pro, then I would recommend waiting for the next iPhone release if you can. Okay, and that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's much appreciated and it helps the channel out a lot. And if you've got any other ideas in terms of reviews or tips and tricks that you'd like to see, please comment them in the video and I'll take a look. I'll see you in the next video.